Cheide!
For this 3-minute rules, we will be looking at the movement phase, and in particular, flank and rear charges, as well as unusual situations. All of this can be found on the Big Warhammer rulebook on pages 21 and 22. Sometimes you may find that your models are able to charge in the flank or the rear, and this is particularly good because it provides you an advantage in combat. I'd like to show you how this looks by using this unit of Dwarf Warriors, and we will have these 4 units of Swordmasters of Hoth set up to show the different kinds of charges. Remember now that a unit's charging position is determined by where it begins with its charge when it declares a charge. Most common is that units will be charging into the front. If you see here, the Swordmasters of Hoth are wholly within the dwarf's forward arc, as you can see from these 45-degree angles out here, so they will be considered charging the front of the enemy. In this unit here, we have 3 of the 5 in the front row of this Swordmasters of Hoth unit is onto the flank of this unit, so we will consider them charging into the flank. The majority of these Swordmasters of Hoth are within the rear of the dwarves, so we will consider them as charging into the rear of that unit. In this case right here, it is hard to tell whether this is in the flank or in the rear because the arc goes right through the center of this model in the center of the 5 here. So in this situation, the best thing to do is to simply roll a die to see randomly which one of these it will land in. For example, we may say 1, 2, 3, they will charge in the rear, 4, 5, 6 onto the flank, let's roll it out, and now it's a 5, so we will say they charge on the flank. And once again, when determining the charge, just remember to imagine that there are 45-degree lines heading out from each corner of this unit right here, and then simply use those lines to determine where these charging units lie. Next, we may talk about unusual situations. Sometimes a charging unit can move into contact with its target, but it is unable to close the door, perhaps because there is terrain that is in the way. In this case, what we need to do is to try and move this unit as much as possible to wheel it in order to make the charge possible. Sometimes what we have to do actually is to make the charge and then in fact have the other unit close the door. Allow me to show you an example of what that looks like by using this large horde of Empire archers charging onto these silver helms. What we do here is we would first wheel and then move straight forward, so we bring the corner into contact with the silver helms. Now because of this terrain piece here, we cannot close the door there, so we will have the silver helms actually slide up and they will close the door onto the Empire archers like that. And of course, if no amount of finagling can be done to avoid the obstacles and to complete the charge, then we consider this a failed charge. With this, we come to the conclusion of our discussion of the rules for the movement phase, flank and rear charges, and unusual situations. Thanks for joining us here at Grey Army Gaming, where Grey can always play.